Now, British home buyers have admitted to buying a new property based on, wait for it, the contents of the wardrobe and the dust on the surfaces, even the springiness of the bed that you're probably not actually buying. The average home buyer spends less than 30 minutes viewing a property and, of course, neglecting to notice bad DIY and having a proper survey carried out can cost you thousands of pounds. Let's talk to property expert Henry Pryor, who's here. Good morning.
Morning.
This is one of the biggest investments, if not the biggest investment you will ever make in your life, and we're judging it on all the wrong things. Why?
Well, it is extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, when you think about the fact that 60% of people will buy a house with a mortgage, the word mortgage coming from the French word for death, that's how serious buying a house is and how seriously people should take it. But interestingly, this first direct survey this morning talking about how flippant we are, effectively, how we are spending on average 30 minutes, just 30 minutes evaluating a house. So, and since that's an average, clearly half of all home buyers are taking less than that to work out how to spend, where to spend and what to spend on what will, as you rightly say, Stephen, will be their biggest single purchase.
Are these inexperienced buyers? Because surely anyone who skipped getting a survey and then later found there are huge problems with the roof or the boiler or with asbestos or whatever it may be, must know that it's a huge false economy.
Well, it can be, and for many people it is, and that's what this survey is trying to highlight, the fact that if you buy something without being brave enough, it's a classic English reticence. We don't like to embarrass ourselves or other people, so when we go around a house, sometimes we're reluctant to ask whether we could test the boiler, for example, or check the Wi-Fi or the mobile reception for fear of giving offence. And if you're thinking of spending what statistically now is on average over £220,000 for the average home across the UK, you'd have thought that people might be just a little bit more diligent.
See, it's interesting though, isn't it? You're surprised by this, I'm surprised by this, and yet we shouldn't be, because for how many years have we watched these shows like House Doctor, used to be on years ago, where it's all about, if you want to sell your house, repaint the walls and tidy all the things up that actually are completely inconsequential to someone buying a house.
And we're all susceptible to the PR and the spin and the marketing that is put out by the selling team. The estate agent, of course, is not a broker trying to come up with a mutually satisfactory deal between two parties. He's there paid for and representing the seller. So with the old stories of the smell of coffee or freshly baked bread, is always there trying to cajole us into making those rash and perhaps rushed decisions.
It is always going to be a gamble, though, isn't it? There's, even with a survey, even with the finest little detail as you've gone around the house, you don't know if your neighbours are going to be rowing late at night. You don't know whether there's going to be loud
They're not all going to live next door to you, Isabel.
Loud cars ragging up and down your cul-de-sac or whatever it may be late at night. You have to kind of do a bit of a blind leap of faith, don't you?
You'd have to inevitably take that leap. It's rather like dating before you get married. There's all these things that you should be looking at and checking out. But if you are diligent about it, the first direct survey has got 10 pointers for people who are thinking of buying something or indeed just renting something, whether it's checking for pets running around on floorboards in the flat above, to other bits of detail. They're all useful pointers for something that you're probably going to spend at least on average 7 years living in, where you're going to make memories, meet friends, entertain. These are all things that are important, and these things shouldn't be rushed.
Oh,
yeah,
good advice.
Yeah, very fair point, Henry. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
I'll say, if you're buying a house, get in touch, but actually I don't want to be a part of your nightmare. It's a nightmare. Best of luck for you if you're going through that, though, at the moment.